Since the beginning of time, humanity has been corrupted by desire. The hearts of the masses succumb to dreams of lust, beauty, wealth, destruction, success, justice, power, seclusion, and happiness. Like poison, it controls them, distorts them, and makes them turn against one another. They are prisoners of fate, destined to repeat the actions of their forefathers, and born into the unjust game that is their existence. Even you are a part of this game. You as a human are not capable of free will. You too are a prisoner of fate, destined to repeat the actions of the ones before you. But what if I told you there was a way to break the cycle? What if I told you that inside yourself and inside everyone lies the seed of change? This is the story of Persona 5.
There's someone here. Hey, up there! He's here. Moving immediately.
If you've never heard of Persona, what I'm about to say might sound really confusing, but I'm gonna try to make it easy to understand. Okay, in Persona 5, you, the main character, no, not you, one day sees a woman being assaulted and he decides to intervene and be a hero. But instead, he becomes the one charged with assault because apparently the guy he pushed is Jeff Bezos.
Damn brat! I'll sue!
So he gets sent to Tokyo, where he has to live in the cellar of a coffee shop with best dad Sojiro.
I'm Sojiro Sakura. You'll be in my custody over the next year.
Then you go to school, where it turns out that the only reason they accepted you is because Humpty Dumpty is a greedy bastard. Everyone's labeled you as a criminal, and even the teachers don't want you around. Like, how's this library chick scared of Harry Potter? What's he gonna do, not return his books? Like, come on. Then on your next day of school, you see a cute girl get into the sus guy's car. And then this vulgar boy shows up and triggers your Alexis, so then you get transported to a weird castle with some crazy naked dude, and then you have an anime meltdown, and then some guy comes out of you and goes,
I am thou, thou art I.
and then beats up all the knights who are actually pumpkins? And then a talking cat shows up and helps you escape. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but let me try to explain. So this weird app that downloaded itself inside your phone actually lets you access the world inside the minds of adults with distorted desires. And this guy right here is actually a Redditor, is actually a perverted volleyball coach who sees himself as the king of the school. And so the castle you end up in is actually how he sees the school, with his students being tortured as training, and the girls on the volleyball team being treated like personal slaves. Even the gym is turned into a cathedral where he is worshipped as some sort of holy deity. So these places are called palaces, and basically when a person's desires become distorted, it makes a palace, which is a physical manifestation of those distorted desires. Palaces can be anything, and inside them lie treasures, and also these weird potatoes. But the treasure is the cause of all the distortions in a person's mind, and if you steal it, you can make them confess their crimes to the public. And so the plot of the game is about you and your friends going into palaces and using your personas to change hearts. And personas are basically a manifestation of your rebellion. To simplify it, it's basically JoJo stands, but edgier. And you use your personas to fight shadows, who are inside these big guys and pop out like kids in a trench coat when you rip off their mask. The thing about the fights in this game is that they're super easy. Basically, you have a Pokemon-like combat system where you have your elemental moves, debuffs, healing, and then also physical and gun.
And it sparkles like new!
But where it gets interesting is where instead of super effective attacks only doing extra damage, they also knock the enemy down. And when you knock an enemy down, you can baton pass to another teammate and increase their damage, and you can stack the baton passes, and you can just do crazy amounts of damage. And you can also do a hold up where basically all your party members surround the shadows, allowing you to ask for items, money, or for them to join you. Or you could beat the crap out of them with an all-out attack. And another thing you can do in Royal is when a shadow has really low health, a party member might trigger a Showtime attack, which is basically a super stylized finisher in which two of your party members take down the shadow in a ridiculous over-the-top way. All of them are absolutely hilarious and really accentuate what the characters are all about. I can't tell you how much I laughed at the one where Ryuji and Yusuke are just eating until a shadow busts in and they, like, shoot the hell out of it. Or the one where Morgana gives on a bouquet of flowers and then she just pulls two guns out of it and starts shooting the shadows. But basically, each palace has a real-life time limit of which you must complete it in, and this makes the game have a sense of urgency. You know, most games just allow you to grind up for eternity even though Thanos is waiting there with his Infinity Gauntlet ready to wipe out half the universe. But with Persona, you actually have to strategize and make sure you're ready before the time limit. Except if you're like me and beat the whole palace in one sitting like a true degenerate. But still, the option to take your time makes Persona 5 very unique and makes it stand out among other RPGs. Which brings me to the next part of the game, your social life. So when you're not going into palaces, you're hanging out with your friends, working part-time jobs, going to the movies, normal teenage stuff. And this is where the social part of the game comes into play. You see, each day you could do different things, which can range from playing some 8-ball with the boys, going to a maid cafe, hitting up the arcade, whatever that shit is, fishing, you know, just like every other game in existence. But all of these improve your social stats: kindness, charm, intelligence, proficiency, and guts, which when improved affect how you interact with the environment and allow you to progress through your confidants, which I'll get to in a moment. And what's cool about social stats is that in the beginning of the game, no one likes you. You're treated like a piece of shit and generally thought of as an outcast. But through taking the time to improve your character, you get to see how he changes as a result of your hard work. I think the best example of it is this guy, Mr. Ushimaru. He's your social studies teacher, and he has a tendency to, well... So yeah, he sucks, but the thing is, when you have high proficiency, you can actually dodge the chalk. And the class applauds you for standing up to the teacher, which is just amazing. And the list goes on of these little optional things that you only see if you put in the work, and that just makes me love this game. But the main reason for improving your social stats is to increase the bonds with your confidants, which are basically your friends who help you by teaching you to be a pro gamer, barista, politician, and other stuff, but all the confidants are basically fellow outcasts who regain their place in society through you hanging out with them and helping them rise against their oppression. Most of their stories are really good and make you love the characters because you, as a player, get to have a positive effect on their lives, which is a really impactful kind of storytelling. But basically, the more you hang out with your homies, the more skills you can unlock, which help you when fighting shadows. And these skills can range from asking for more money or items, being able to ambush enemies from far away, and even insta-killing weak shadows, which saves so much time grinding. The game literally does it for you. It is amazing. Which really shows how the two parts of the game affect each other and make for one amazing experience of a game. Persona 5 may be really long, but through dedicating the time to improve yourself and improve the lives of others and seeing how that impacts the game in a positive way, it makes for an amazing experience that leaves a lasting impression on the player that changes them forever. The music is a bop, the characters are amazing, and the game itself is an absolute masterpiece that rivals all of the greatest games in gaming because it is just so fucking good. Now it's time for a spoiler discussion. If you haven't beaten Persona 5 Royal, please skip to this time code. So Persona 5 Royal adds in a new Phantom Thief and a new villain, and I think they're both really amazing. Kasumi is awesome, her story is inspiring, Maruki is an antagonist while also not being wrong or evil, which is really interesting and makes for a great final boss fight. His character is just so good because you actually get to become closer with him like Adachi, but you don't necessarily know he's the bad guy. Unlike Adachi, who is already an antagonist in Persona 4, Maruki is an entirely new character who seems good, but ultimately turns on the Phantom Thieves when they reject his new reality. And I also love how you have to convince your friends to wake up and reject the new reality. And all of their new personas are really cool and awesome, and having them introduced for the final battle is really cool. So overall, I really like the changes they made to the story. The new characters are really good, and I can't wait to see where the Persona series goes in the future. Hopefully it won't take another 10 years until Persona 6, right? Right? Right out!